Hi there. After understanding the ethical theories, normative and descriptive, it's time to understand the business ethics management and the tools and techniques we have available to manage ethics in the organization. So let's start with business ethics management concept. It is the attempt to manage ethical issues through policies, practices, and programs. It could be formal or informal, and it involves different components of business. Components such as the mission or values of the organization, or auditing and reporting, and the risk management. Actually, the business ethics management has 90 components, as you see here. Today, I'm going to talk about a few relevant components and how ethics should be addressed from those perspectives. For example, the Code of Ethics. It is a voluntary statement that commits an organization, industry, or even a professional to a set of beliefs, values, and actions to conduct ethical behavior. The organization's code of ethics should identify and encourage ethical behavior at the level of individual organization. So it should look at the key stakeholders and define the requirements in terms of work labor, the prevention of child labor, and so on. The Professional Code of Ethics set the guidelines for the conduct of a group of professionals. Traditional professions like medicine and law have historical codes of conduct. Other professions like marketing and IT are now defining their own codes. Finally, the industry codes of ethics are similar to the professions, but embrace specific sectors that involving companies and members or employees. How is the best way to implement code of ethics? First, it should be written in appropriate tone that should be supported by management and backed up with training. And finally, it should be controlled and incentives should be created to reinforce it. Now, let's talk about stakeholders management and business ethics. Well, stakeholders management is the process used to understand the interests and expectations of stakeholders and consequently the attempt to satisfy them in accordance with the interests of the organization. The influence the stakeholders can uh, uh, can vary in terms of power, legitimacy, and urgency. Saying that we can understand the relationship between the organization and that different groups of stakeholders can vary, as could vary the ethical issues with each group, right? So, to manage this relationship and assess the ethical performance, organizations implement the social account process. It is a voluntary process that involves social, ethical, and environment issues related with stakeholders. Following the social account model, the company can assess the internal and external pressures, such as the press from trade unions, or identify the risks that can harm the organization and its stakeholders. Also, it improves the stakeholder management by providing new channels of communication and enhance transparency and accountability. Another component of business ethics management is the environmental management, where business assess the negative environmental impact the organization has in their life cycle. Even if the organization have been addressing environmental issues in their corporate social responsibility for a while, the increasing demands from stakeholders and regulatory compliance suggests the implementation of an environmental management system, a comprehensive process that involves environmental goals, policies, responsibilities, and regular auditing and reporting. The introduction of global standards such as ISO 14001 could be a good way to formalize the environmental management system, but could not be enough. The ethical leadership is another approach to shape business ethics inside the organization. It describes how the role of senior manager can set the ethical tone of organization. So the personal values of a CEO can highly influence the degree of engagement the organization has with responsible practices. There are two main approaches to manage ethical culture: the ethical cultural change, where the leadership role is to personify the values and standards of the organization, and the ethical cultural learning, where the role of leadership is to empower employees to moral imagination and autonomy. So thank you for listening and see you in the next video. Bye.